guys, it's Mo back, and I did promise that we would look at the interviews of Megan prior to getting arrested when we still assumed that, Evelyn was maybe missing, maybe something, someone had taken her. Now, this was very shortly after the Amber Alert was put out. I have two different interviews for you guys to look at, and this particular interview came from, oh crud, I was going to write it down in notes. Lawless Lane, a YouTuber. Now, this was from 4 years ago, so this was just after, the Amber Alert had been put out, and everyone is looking for baby Evelyn. And Megan is portraying, the grieving mother who has not, found her baby, didn't report her missing, but I mean, she hasn't seen her baby in forever, and she's just begging for the public's help. So without further ado, let's get on to this first interview. This is with a local, a station. So let's get into this.
Just want to tell you about like her favorite things and personality wise. I know like looking on TV and just kind of seeing a picture, it's a lot harder to, envision a baby.
Okay, initially, I can tell you that if my, 16, 17-month-old baby was missing, I would be nearly catatonic or hysterical. I'm not going to be able to put on things. I would probably have to send someone out to talk for me, to tell them this is what she likes. She loves her baby dolls. She hates Tickle Me Elmo, things like that. I would be so stressed, but she is remarkably unbothered, probably because she knows exactly where Evelyn is, in my opinion.
Like her favorite food is like sweet potatoes. She's really sweet. She loves to give people kisses. Favorite song is Baby Shark. Just like that kind of stuff.
Can you tell me what's her favorite toy?
I mean, these are all general things, and every mom's going to know this. My youngest son likes Roblox. My oldest son likes Fortnite. Things like that. But again, it is also going to be heartbreaking to think about all the things that your child loves when they're not with you. It's going to be, you might tear up. You might say, he loves Baby Shark. You might have a break in your voice just because the thought of your baby at that moment, you not knowing where they are, is a heart-wrenching, terrifying, thing to have to deal with as a parent.
She has a little Baby Shark puppet.
What would y'all do together?
Well, she loves to take baths. That was her favorite thing. And she had little shark toys that swim in the bath and stuff like that.
How old is she now?
She's 15 months today, actually.
And this really weird kind of side angle, again, this could have been completely innocent, but I do think that maybe the reporter was sensing something, because the way they're filming her at an off angle, it kind of makes you have to look out of your side eye, and it gives a very sort of furtive, I'm hiding something look. So I don't know if that was just the way to stay out of the sun's glare that they were doing that. But it does already start out with a sort of baseline, like, you're not looking me in the eye, I don't trust you kind of vibe, at least for me.
Can you tell me a little bit, so you said she's very sweet. Is she sweet with everybody, or just
She is. She loves everybody.
Can you tell me a little bit about how you're feeling? Do you miss her? Are you worried?
Of course I miss her, and I can't tell anything about the...
Well, and so this is where people started having a lot of questions. This is where, you miss her, you're worried about her, you care about her. Why did it darn near take you 2 months to, say that she was missing, to ring the alarm bell that, I think at this point she was blaming her mother, so that her mother had it. So why did it take you 2 months to, do this? Why didn't you raise the alarm, try to get your family involved? If it was an internal, like, you and your mother thing, proof of life, I want to see what my daughter's looking like. I mean, these are things that don't make sense to me.
Ongoing investigation, but they are, I'm sure you all have released an article about the car and stuff like that, so they have a pretty good idea of who has her. I mean, if they're watching, I just want them to bring her back.
Is there anything you'd like to say to them if they're watching?
I just want her back. That's my child.
So this is where she starts putting out that my mom took the child, I wasn't doing a great job raising her, or they thought they could do better. And, they took the child and they were going to find better parents. Or, look, there are so many stories that this chick told. First, it was, random people. It was her baby had gone down to, visit her father who was in the military. There were a lot of different stories. She finally landed on my mom and stepdad took her.
I'm sorry. I know this must be hard. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about her? Do you have any pictures of her? Have you been looking?
Not on me, no.
Not on you. Have you been looking at photos and stuff of her while you're? How are you coping with all of this?
I just want her back.
I mean, we are getting the show of emotion here, but it's somewhat that it has to be prompted, if you ask me. It's almost like the reporter is saying, hey, I need you to be sad for this. It does seem a little like it is performative. Again, knowing what we now know, this is such a lackluster performance. This is not even, Amber Heard level of acting.
If you could tell her anything now, what would you say to her?
I love her and I miss her, and that I'll be with her as soon as I can get to her any way I can.
Is there anything that you can tell us about, like, what kind of baby she is? I know you said that it's hard to see.
She's a happy baby. She hardly ever cries.
That could be true. It could be true, or it could be that you never got up and took care of her when she was crying. And she learned that crying didn't work to get your attention.
She wants to wave and talk to everybody. She walks funny. She doesn't know how to pick her feet up, so she kind of wobbles.
Is she talkative?
She is.
What,
She giggles a lot. You'll smile at her, she'll just start giggling. She's very happy.
Mm-hmm. And so you said she is talkative. Is it full sentences? Like, what milestones has she met? Like, is she a smart little girl?
She is. She hit every milestone early. She can almost say I love you. She's not fully got to sentences yet, but she does say a lot of words.
And this is going to be an added layer of parental terror. Not that it wouldn't be the same level of terror if, say, a 7-year-old or a child who was able to fully communicate, but a toddler, toddlers are a lot of work. They're incredibly hands-on. They're incredibly, into everything. So that has got to be another terror bit ratcheted up there. If your child is truly taken, they have taken your child. She can't effectively communicate when she maybe is hungry versus tired versus scared versus, overly needing a nap. And all of these things would maybe increase the annoyance and anger at your child from this unknown kidnapping person. But she is, again, so not bothered. We've seen a little bit of a tear or two here, but not destroyed, not devastated like most of us, I think, would be if we truly had very little clue as to where our child was.
You must be so proud of her.
I am. When Baby Shark plays, she tries to dance with them and sing it.
You said that's her favorite song. Do you do the puppet with her a lot? Mm-hmm. And I know all of this is very hard. Can you tell me how you're feeling?
I just want her back. That's all I want.
Are you feeling worried or anything along those lines?
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that at all?
Well, the reason I didn't report it or anything is because I knew the person who had her, and I didn't want them to
make that make sense. Okay, so your child has been taken from you, and you are not wanting to get authorities to come in because you're afraid they're going to hide them. Well, I can guarantee that authorities will move heaven and earth to make sure a child gets back home safely, and with, operational maybe stealth. If you tell them, hey, these people might up and pull a runner if I tell on them. I don't know. None of this made sense from the get-go.
run away with her, and as soon as they thought anything was going on, they just kind of vanished.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just worried about, where they're at what they're doing with her at this point in time.
So you do know who has her? You do. Can you tell us who that is, or you don't?
I can't release anything further about that. I'm sure they will at the press conference, but further than that, I can't.
So again, this was right around the time that a warrant was put out for her mother and her stepfather for both stealing a vehicle, but also potentially having Evelyn. So she was a-okay positive about backing that bus over her mother, figuratively speaking, for a kidnap of a, defenseless child.
Can't say anything.
And so you do know who has her. Are you worried about her safety?
Well, now I am, because they won't answer phone calls. They've just kind of disappeared.
What is it like to? I'm assuming that you trusted this person. How has this trust?
Now, looking in and refreshing myself on the background of this story, Megan did have a hard time adjusting to parenthood. It seems like she had a bit of, push-pull between the reality of having a baby and you have to give up that sort of teen life or young adult life to put a child first. And it does seem like there were some issues, within the Boswell family that, there had been some concerns as far as, her being able to cope, her being able to actually handle all of the issues that were going to come up with having, a young child and being a new mom. And the grandfather who finally reported her missing, the great-grandfather to Evelyn, but Megan's grandfather, received a lot of family pushback when he said, look, if I don't see this baby girl within the end of the week, I'm calling. He received pushback because apparently other families either had an inkling or a clue that what they found would not be a good answer. So I am sure that this weighs heavy on his heart. Maybe he wonders if he had called earlier, if, his great-granddaughter would have been laid to rest, quicker. We would have gotten answers.
It's been broken. What's been going on with that?
It has definitely been broken after this.
Have you spoken to her father at all during this process? Are you having any support from
No.
him or from your family?
Yeah, my grandma's very supportive. She always is.
That's good. But you haven't spoken to him at all?
Mm-mm.
When was the last time you saw her?
In December.
In December? Okay. And what was that last day like? Was it a good day? I think it was about around Christmas, right? Can you tell me about that?
It was a good day. She had a little pink bow in her hair and a little Puma tracksuit on. It was hot pink.
And,
Yeah, I mean, again, there is just something incredibly off by the way she is both looking at the reporter and that the reporter is having to almost pull teeth to get this information out of Megan. Again, I have said that I would be devastated, but they'd probably have to shut me up at this point. Like, look, he likes, box cars. He doesn't like mustard. He likes, he can be a little rambunctious. If you have him, please love that about him like I do. He likes Thomas the Tank. I mean, I would just be full on run-on sentence mode as far as, trying to get as much information to make my son human and get, tips going in. And the reporter is almost having to physically pull out any sort of descriptions or things like that that might make Evelyn human for the viewing public and encourage them to, if they see something, say something. It is an incredibly odd dynamic.
I know that you're hoping that she'll be returned shortly. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the person or people that have her that you think they should hear from you?
They should just bring her back. They obviously know what's going on and they need to bring her back home.
Mm-hmm. And you said that you trusted this person. So when did you realize that trust might have been broken?
Well, when they just kind of took off and wouldn't answer anybody.
Around when was that?
Whenever this whole thing started.
Okay. All right.
So she's also being incredibly evasive here. As a mom or a parent of any kind, if your child is missing, you know exactly to the minute, to the second, because that is just a magnitude 11 earthquake in your life. You know, you might know exactly what you were doing the moment you realized they were not where they were supposed to be. So for her to say, yada, yada, you know, like whenever this all started, like I don't remember. Very, very, again, dismissive of the whole thing, wanting to portray this as sort of a family sort of issue that's not going to be too deep, and you know, we'll get it taken care of. You know, Evelyn will be there, all the while knowing she stuffed that precious little angel in a trash can.
And can you tell me a little bit more about like how you're feeling? I know all of this is scary and everything.
It is. I just want her back.
Is
That's all I can think about. Is just getting her back.
Is there anything the community can do to help you?
No. Other than look for her.
That was actually really interesting. Is there anything the community can do? Nah. Kind of automatic and honest, because unfortunately there was nothing the community could do.
You know, they released the car information and the tag number and stuff like that. Just any leads at all, they need to like call us so we can go check them out. Try to find her.
Has anyone like have you gotten any information from the community that's been helpful, or you just kind of been
I don't really know. They've all been looking at leads and stuff like that. I mean, they are working their butts off.
Also, what an incredibly sadistic thing to do to these first responders and these detectives. These detectives probably were working 24-hour days. The, you know, people that were trying to find the TBI, they were probably putting on incredibly long hours hoping to bring this baby girl home safe. And for you to know deep down that you shoved her in a trash can, these men and women giving up time with their families to help reunite you with yours, and you know all the while they are on a fool's errand. It is so incredibly evil to put false hope in people, to make them work for this false hope, all the while knowing there is no hope. And I think that's what really burns my biscuits about this case. I mean, other than the fact that, again, you unalived a toddler allegedly, but to give everyone across the nation the thought that even, you know, if they didn't have a tip to, you know, call in, that they would keep, you know, their eyes open for your precious daughter to try to help reunite her to you, and for you to know that all the while this is a lie, is just an level of evil contempt for humanity that I just don't get.
Has the police department and everything, the sheriff's office, been keeping you in the loop for this?
They have been.
How's that been going? Has that been good? Positive?
It is good.
Good. And I know that you said that you're getting a lot of support from your family. Are they like helping you going to courts and meetings and stuff with you? I know you've had a lot of.
Yeah, they didn't know I had court today. Or I'm sure my grandma would have been there.
Did you keep it from them, or?
I mean, I've just not really talked to them that much today, to be honest. And like I said, stuff was going on, like, while we were sitting in the courtroom, and I couldn't, well, not while, but like, you know, waiting to go to court, and like, I just couldn't tell her exactly what was going on.
So you said, like, obviously you can't share anything about the case, so you haven't been sharing with, like, your family or anything?
Welcome to their close-up, Mrs. DeVille. Ooh.
Either?
No.
How's that, not being able to confide in anyone?
I mean, the police officers are very nice, especially like Sergeant Matt Price and stuff like that. I can talk to him or like them, and they've been like really helpful this whole time. They really have been.
And anything else that you think that people should know about Evelyn, about like what makes her so special?
She's just a very sweet baby. She's got, you know, the little dimples on her face.
Do you think she looks like you?
No, she definitely looks like her dad, but she does have my eyes.
That's good. You have very pretty eyes.
Thank you.
So I do wonder if in the back of her mind, she is formulating another get out of jail free card with the, oh, I'm sorry, we fell asleep and we rolled over on her and that's how she passed away. And then we were scared and we put her in the trash can. is absolutely, I don't think, and this is the same sort of lack of being able to perceive their victim as a human that we see in the Joel Guy Jr. case, the Chandler Halderson case. Let's see, just numerous cases, the Sarah Boone case. They don't imagine that anyone is going to miss or cry for or be that all that concerned that the person that they have taken out, is gone. I bet she assumed that she could just say that Evelyn was with, Zanny the nanny, Casey Anthony, I'm looking at you, or, his dad, and everyone would just buy that for years and years because she doesn't get the concept that your child has so many people in their life that love them and that are not going to be like, whatevs, she's gone. She's nearly 2. She can, get a job. No, no, they're going to be wondering where the heck this precious baby is. And she just had none of this. She had no kind of plan or thought other than saving her own behind, not any thought to the heartbreak and heartache she was going to cause not only her family, but her community and the nation, who all waited with bated breath to see this baby come home safely and to find out that her mother was probably her unaliver was just heart-wrenching beyond belief.
She's the cutest baby ever. So you'll know it's her when you see her. She loves everybody. She tries to kiss everybody on the cheek. She tries to wave to everybody. She's very friendly. She's very friendly and sweet. So,
when hopefully you're reunited with her, what will be the first thing that you do?
just hug her. I mean, I know it sounds weird, but I miss how she smells and her laugh and
That's kind of the first thing that I would say would be genuine grief. Her actually missing her because she knows there's no way to get this back. But other than that, she's been so just kind of lackadaisical in this entire thing.
everything. I just want to hold her.
So I know that this must be that you're missing your baby, and then there's been trust broken, right, as well. Are you worried about her safety?
I mean, in a way, yes, just because we can't find, the car or nothing like that. But they have exhausted almost every option, you know what I'm saying? They're working around the clock. They have a whole room of people if they're dedicated just finding her, and I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that?
And goodness, I hope you first responders, you detectives, and all the people that worked on this case, hoping for a good resolution, don't carry the guilt of not being able to, find this baby and bring her home to people, obviously not her mother, but people who loved her. And I am sure that is a wound that cut them deep. And this woman could care less about it. As long as she got away with, no consequences. And yes, I'm getting angry now. But as long as she thought that she could get away with this with no consequences, she was fine blaming her mother, her stepdad, the father of her child. She was fine and dandy as heck, throwing anyone and everyone into the spotlight but herself.
That they are going to find her?
I do. I have full confidence.
You do? Are you feeling hopeful?
I am.
So do I.
Can you tell me about that? What keeps you going? What's giving you hope? And
the team up there is just honestly really good. Mm-hmm. They're all really good, and I can confidently say that, when I'm not up here, I know that they're doing their best to find her. I'm not worried that when I'm not up here, they're not just sitting around and twiddling their thumbs. I know that they are trying genuinely.
Right. Do you have any regrets about not involving police sooner? I know that.
Well, sort of, but also in a way, I knew that as soon as anything went down, the person was going to just disappear, and they have, and they've tried to find them. They are going to find them. Mm-hmm. And I know that they'll bring her back to me.
You feel fully confident in that. That's good. But if you could do this all over again, is there anything you would do differently?
Yeah, I probably called the first day. I should.
little laugh, like a little, my bad. Next time I have a child and they go missing as a toddler, I'll like totally RSVP call 911. It's just, there is a reason that as these interviews started to drop, a lot of America, a lot of the true crime community was like, something doesn't pass the sniff test here. Something doesn't make sense. Because if you knew the person, then you could have marched your happy behind over there and said, look, either you hand me my baby or I'm calling the cops. But, give me my baby. If it was that case, you could have gone in there and done that. This whole cockamamie fakakta story of I knew who had them, but if I called the police, they were going to run. Well, then did you call other family members? Did you go try to do an intervention? None of these other options were ever fully detailed or explored. It was just, they were going to run if we called the coppers. It didn't make sense then, and it really doesn't make sense now.
Should have, but I just didn't want them to run with her like they have now.
Did you ever expect them to run with her?
I knew that if anything really happened and anybody got involved, that they probably would.
Can you tell me why she was with them if you were worried about this?
They were watching her for me while I went.
Yeah, no, explain that. If you have dangerous, unreliable relatives, why are you giving your precious, sweet, infant, toddler daughter to them? If you knew that these were not good people, then didn't your mama brain at all pop in and say, you know what, that's probably a terrible idea to do that? No, it didn't, because it didn't actually happen. Not that we're shocked by that, but again, just none of this adds up. It is like the Letitia Stout case, and the fact that she doesn't understand that most normal people are going to look at this and say, I got like a ton of questions. This makes about as much sense as, the plot in The Acolyte.
To work.
So it was like a babysitting type childcare situation?
Yeah.
But you thought they might run with her?
No, until they took her, no. Then after that, I was like, well, if anything happens, I'm worried they will run with her. And to be honest with you, I won't lie, I didn't know how good the team was up here, and if I did, I would have called the second that I realized.
I thought the cops were morons and it was sort of a daycare thing, but then I knew if anything bad happens, they would run with my kid. Hashtag not a daycare, I'm going to sign my kid up. I'll just take kinder care or, an actual accredited daycare.
They are very good, like I said. They are doing everything they can, and I'm very confident in that. And that makes the situation a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. And so you said that, when did you realize that they had completely disappeared?
Like I said, I can't release anything like specific. I'm sure they will at the press conference, but...
How can you not know exactly when you never saw your daughter again? That is a question for this trial to answer.
So, anything else you'd like to add? Anything that you want to tell me about Evelyn?
Her favorite food is sweet potatoes. She's allergic to carrots.
She's allergic to carrots? What else does she like?
She loves those little applesauce pouches.
Yeah?
She's very smart. Like, even she quit her own sippy cup at 6 months old. Or not a sippy cup, but she quit a bottle, I'm sorry. And went straight to a sippy cup. And, like, I would leave her snacks on the floor, like in the little containers. And she'd open them up herself and, like, get one at a time. Like, she's a very smart, very good baby. Mm-hmm. And I just want her back.
You just must be so proud of her.
I am.
Is there anything that you would like to say to her?
I don't know, but just this woman, again, capitalizing on her daughter's innocence and the beautiful child that her daughter was for attention, knowing full well what she did, is the most irksome thing I have ever in my life, had to sit through. And I have sat through all of Sarah Boone's interrogations. Now, this is the